WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. And today I have something called Old Perth. Yay! Cask strength, second edition red wine finish, 62.3% alcohol by volume, 36 euros over here. It's a blended malt. What is a blended malt? A blended malt is not a blended Scotch. I am so sick and tired of the problems defining blends. A blended malt is not a blended Scotch. When we have a single malt, it's actually a blend of different casks. So what we have here is a blend of different distilleries and their single malts, probably 4. I've been told there's something here from Ben Nevis in here. I've been told there's something from Altmore in this. Interesting. Now, this is from Morrison and McKay. Morrison McKay did, for example, this new distillery edition or this new bottling, which I just put out recently. McTalle, there was the Mara, there was the Terra, and there is actually a Strata, which is going to be a 15-year-old edition. Ooh, very, very good. So what they did is they took, I think, at least 4 different single malts from just different distilleries, put them together into a red wine cask. Now, this red wine cask is a Bordeaux cask, and it's from the Château Beychevelle. All right, whiskey base number 102592. So this blended malt has a very high ABV, 62.3%. Where does that come from? Well, in America, the highest amount you can put into a bourbon barrel is 62.5. And therefore, we actually in Europe use 63.5 usually. Get a little bit more out of that barrel that was before used by bourbon. And what happens is that they could actually share the barrels in the industry. So you have a barrel of 3-year-old whiskey with 63.5. I have one of 63.5, 3 years old. We could just trade barrels. Very good. If I have one with 70% alcohol, you have one with 60% alcohol, not always the same. And maybe even the tax man or the excise man will be angry. All right, so what we have here is 62.3%, which means they probably put it into the cask higher than the 63.5%. No one says you can only do 63.5. You can do 65, you can do 68, you can do 72, you can do anything in between you want to. And many people do. Now, what this is I don't know how old. The youngest whiskey determines the age of this, and therefore they decided not to put that on there. Ben Nevis, if Ben Nevis is in here, is usually very young. I've had some interesting and very nice Ben Nevis that were 3 to 5 years old. If it's an Altmore, maybe it was actually 10 or 12 years old. I don't know. If 1/5 was 3 years old and 5/5 were maybe 7 to 9 years old, it's still a 3-year-old whiskey because the youngest whiskey determines the age of the entire bottle. Okay, on the back, it just basically says a label. It just says here, Scotch whiskey, product of Scotland, bottled in Perthshire, Scotland by Morrison McKay. That's it. Not much. All right, so this is one of those whiskeys we buy because it's cheap. Now, some other people know about the Old Perth label. There's been some interesting products. Maybe you bought it because of the color. You can actually see a tiny little bit of like a pink type of red moment coming in there. And that's actually from the red wine cask. So let's try this whiskey. On the nose, I get a raspberry. I've actually had the very, very similar moment here. The alcohol is very, very present. I recently had a 2-stack, which was 60-some% from Ireland, by the way. It was a Great Northern Distillery, and they had put it into a tawny port cask. Smelled very, very similar. It's more of a raspberry moment. Now, I compared this in my German video to this. This is also an independent bottle. This is Blair Ethel. This is a German independent bottler. This is a 12-year-old Whiskey Warehouse number 8 from Hamburg, Germany, and it's bottled at 53.5%. I still have a little bit left in my glass. This is a granola bar. Sounds very, very grainy and very healthy. Just to use my expression a little bit, this is a strawberry donut. Or raspberry donut, if you liked. All right, this is sweet. This is very, very just velvety smooth. It has a lot of alcohol, and you need to dilute it a little bit, but then it really turns into something nice. This is complex. This almost tastes healthy. Yes, it's alcohol. Yes, it's poisoning of your nervous system, but hey, granola bar. This, as I said, is just a treat. This is like an after dinner dessert whiskey. All right, so cheers. I could drink it if I wanted to. Um, it's a little bit like a Booker's. At the very beginning of the night, you just take that barrel-proof Booker's and you put it in your mouth and you kind of go, oh, that's hot. Oh, yeah. A Stag Junior is like, oh, yeah. At the end of the night, it's like, oh, yeah. And the same thing here. At the beginning, it's like, ooh, hot. A little bit. And then you dilute it down to maybe about 50 some percent. Ooh, takes on a very nice nose as well. A little bit more of that vanilla comes in here. Actually, I do get a kind of tiny little bit of sulfur in here. Maybe they sulfured the Château Beychevelle Bordeaux cask. Mm. Nothing about this whiskey harms you. I've had whiskeys where the alcohol just wants to kill your taste buds. Absolutely not. This is sweet. This is silky. This is nice. This is not complex. This is not something you sit down and you drink and you think about and you contemplate and so on. It's very, very singular in its taste, but it's good. And especially if you think about the 36 euro price tag for a 62.3 ABV bottle. This would be a fabulous present for someone who's no longer a whiskey novice, but not a whiskey expert. You give them this and say, hey, buddy, this is for you. It's not expensive. Watch out, put a little bit of water in it, try it, and use it. And towards the end of the night, after maybe 2 or 3 drams, he's not going to use any water anymore. He's going to go, wow, that's actually nice. It's not an old whiskey. It is a sweet whiskey. It's the strawberry raspberry donut of the whiskey world. Over here, the granola bar. Mm, mm. This is a totally different thing. This is so grain forward. I like it, but so different. This is almost like a liqueur, like a sweet dessert whiskey. I know there is no such thing as dessert whiskeys or dessert wines. Why cannot that be dessert whiskeys? This would be actually my choice. This is the question of the day. Which dessert whiskeys can you recommend? Many people would say Glenfiddich 21 Winter Storm. That was an ice wine cask, very, very sweet, very, very nice. Too expensive. I want something $50 or less, maybe even $60 or $70 or less. Something you can actually recommend, and something has a little bit of oomph as well, a little bit of ABV included. This is actually very, very well done. Morrison and McKay, I do not like all your products, sorry. But I do like this one. I've had the other Old Perth, I think it was edition #1. Didn't like it, sorry. I do like this. Maybe it's me that's developed. Maybe you've actually stayed consistent, but this is actually right up my alley, at least today. Thank you very much for this. All right, so this is actually a C to C plus in my value, not for value for money. This is actually a C plus in value for money. This is a C to C plus in my taste. If you want to have a nice raspberry dessert donut whiskey at the end of the day, bam. This is a thing you could be looking for. Any other recommendations for dessert whiskeys? Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, tell others, maybe even share this video with other people. This is the American over here in Europe, in Germany to be exact, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Whiskeys you'll probably not see very often, and even if you do, they're not mainstream whiskeys, and I do like doing my videos about that. Thank you very much. All the best, and see you soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.